do you think of it, buddy? Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this cooler, as you probably guessed by the intro and the title that you clicked on if you're watching this video. So this is the 90 quart guide gear cooler, and this one here has the American paint job color scheme to it. It is a roto cooler, and we'll get into that here a little bit later on in terms of what that means. But over the last probably 5 or 6 years, these types of coolers have really become popular. Number one, because they work extremely well at keeping stuff cold for very long periods of time. But the downside has been that they generally are pretty expensive as well. This one aims to minimize the second point there, I suppose. But today is May 2nd as I'm filming this. It's the evening of May 2nd. And I just got this one in 2 days ago. So this is a time sensitive video because there's going to be a limited time where members only at Sportsman's Guide can purchase this. And then if there's anything left or any models left with this finish, you guys who are not members can purchase it as well. But we'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. So we got it in. I went out and purchased 3 24 packs of beer because cooling soda just seems silly because I don't drink soda. So we threw it in there. And you guys can see here on your screen what this is rated for in terms of storing cans, but in terms of bottles, just one layer down, we were able to get just over 50 in there. And obviously if I threw another layer of ice on there, we could keep filling it up and it would be just fine. Again, limited time for this video, and I kind of wanted to give it the worst conditions possible. So that's kind of what we set up here. It's been 90 degrees plus the last 2 days. Right now it's 92. Yesterday it got up to 96 here, and I left this cooler out where you guys see it now and where you've seen it through all the photos, in a position that we get here anyway, in this spot in my backyard. We get about 12, 13 hours of direct sunlight this time of year. So it's a pretty bad test just on that regard. And then when you combine that with the fact that I didn't go out and actually purchase a bunch of ice bags for it, it's gonna really test how well it can insulate. All I did was take a refrigerator, standard refrigerator, nothing fancy, ice tray, and threw it in there, and also put 2 little ice cube trays of ice in there because that's all I had in my freezer, and wanted to see how it did. Now, again, it's a worst case scenario because it's not really full of ice. You want to have as much ice and water in there as possible for maximum ice retention. So that air in there is kind of problematic for that. And then also, we did not pre-chill the coolers. So anybody who knows a lot about like roto coolers knows there's different ways to do that. You can do it with dry ice. This is dry ice approved. I should point that out. You can use inserts to cool it down, but we did not pre-cool it at all. It came out of the package, walked out here, put beer in it, and then just the limited amount of ice that we saw. And we checked it yesterday. 24 hours later, it did still have some ice in there. I should be rolling in photos of that. Just over 26 hours has passed since we initially put the ice in there. Let's check it out, see what it looks like. You can still see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but there are definitely still ice chunks, cubes rather, whole. However, a lot of it has melted, and we have water there at the bottom. We're going to close it back up and come back here in another 24 hours, see what it looks like. And I have not opened it today, but we're about to see how it's done. So let me back off here and we'll reposition the camera and check it out. Before I pop this sucker open, I kind of want to walk through the features here on the outside. So just looking at it from the corner that's closest to me and the one that's furthest away, we do have a place to lock it. So if you want to put padlocks on there, you certainly can do so. Now, why would you do that? Many of you may be asking. Well, if you are hunting or you live in an area that has bears, it's definitely something you need to be mindful of. So this one here is rated as bear proof with the padlocks on there. They have done some testing with it over at Sportsman's Guide. I think they have a video on their YouTube channel of a 500 pound bear trying to get in there with those locks, and it did not get in. Now that of course is due to the locks. It's also due to the, again, roto-molded plastic that we have here. So roto-molded plastic, quick overview, I am not a scientist or engineer, simply a redneck with guns and a camera. But what it is it's a specific type of plastic that's very, very durable, impact resistant, and it's also UV resistant, which is important. So a lot of people are going to buy these coolers, throw them in the back of a truck, throw them in the back of a boat, and it will be exposed long-term to UV rays that can break down a lot of other polymer materials out there. This does not do that. Again, these have been out, these types of coolers, I should say, 5, 6 years now as of this video, and there's plenty of them that have been, you know, out in the sun for that long and have not seen any reported damage or degradation of that rotomolded material, so it certainly has proven itself. We do have these little straps here, which are rubber. So what that does is when I pop it open, you guys are going to see that there is a gasket seal in there, but what it does is it puts constant tension and constant pressure on it, making sure that there's minimal, if not no, air getting out and no warm air going back in. So we have two of those on both sides, and when you feel it kind of go down, you definitely feel it engage. So it's very positive in that regard. You guys can also see out here on the end, all the hinges in this are molded into the polymer, meaning that they're not screwed in, they're not bolted in. It's actually, they're inserted when the polymer molding is built originally at the factory. I should mention on that, this is 100% made in the USA for the folks over at Sportsman's Guide. So on top here, it's meant to be stood on, it's meant to be climbed on, whatever. All of that stuff's perfectly fine. We have a little bit of a grippy texture there on top where you'd be standing. The rest of it's pretty smooth all the way around. And again, this is a limited edition American flag color one. They also have tan and green, and I believe one other color as well. Moving on to the sides here, if we can move it. Sounds like there's ice in there. We'll see here in a second. So we have these handles that you can carry it. This one here, as it comes with no ice or food or anything like that in there, weighs right in at 45 pounds. So it's not lightweight. It doesn't have wheels on it. That's one of the things I wish it had, but it's kind of an in-between size for coolers. So if you look around on the market, what you'll see is the ones that kind of go over 100 quarts. That's when they kind of start to get wheels, but this one can get pretty heavy as well, depending on how you pack it. So just be mindful of that. We do have these two straps there to help you guys carry it if you're carrying it with a buddy. And of course, up under here, we have handles built into the material as well. Just like all the hinges that we talked about earlier, the poles that are the retention rods rather that keep this handle on there are built right into the material. Down here on the bottom we have a drain. It is a gasket sealed O-ring. I just tipped it and it started to leak a little bit, so I don't want to do that before we open it. But you guys can see here it is also lanyarded on there, so that way it's much less likely that you will lose it, which is certainly always good. Let me slide around here and see if I'm missing anything else on it. I don't think I am. I should mention that drain is only on this side. It is not on the right side as I see it, probably left side as you guys are looking at it. On the outside of the cooler, one feature I did leave out is that it does have rubber feet on the bottom. It actually lifts it up off the ground, and what that's good for is if you're on particularly solid ground or flat ground, it's going to reduce the likelihood that heat is going to be transferred through the ground, which is good. Anybody who's slept on the ground in really cold conditions knows that's not where you want to be, so being up off it is good, and the same is true here. Like I mentioned earlier, it's in the 90s right now as we're recording this. We're going to get a quick heat temperature here on the ground. You guys can see everything here is about 105, 113, just over the back side of this cooler. In terms of the actual cooler itself, what are we getting? So 96 there on the cooler. Again, that is in direct sunlight. And let's open it up and see what it looks like here. Again, guys, we did not put a ton of ice in there. That was intentional, kind of speeding up the test there. So what we have here is this double gasket sealed O-ring. That is what's maintaining contact with this raised ledge that we have all the way around the cooler. And good news is I'm just looking around, I can tell you there's still ice cubes in there, so good there. Again, as we close down, this part and this part is what seals up, and there is a little bit of malleability here in this rubber O-ring, which is good because that's what's going to create that good seal there. Let me readjust the camera and let you guys get a better look in there. Hopefully the camera's picking up. There is a bunch of water there on the bottom. That is the ice that we had when we started out. You guys can see as I'm kind of randomly getting temperature samples in there, we're at about 47, 50, 55 on that one. Let me go in the back corner. So that's definitely cold beer. Most folks' refrigerators are going to be approximately 36 to 40 degrees, so it's going to be pretty cold. Again, guys, this stuff is not being done in optimal conditions. We do still have some ice cubes in there. That water is definitely cold. Let me actually go grab my temperature gauge again and see if we can kind of get a read on that, because what we were reading before was, of course, the bottles. Maybe not. 41, 42. Yeah, so the actual water right there is a little bit chillier, so we're probably 41, 42 in there, and the bottles themselves are right about 50. This thing right here is the cooler, rather, I should say. If you go look at the website, it's going to say it can hold ice for up to 12 days. I have no doubt that that's true. However, again, that's not being stored in 90+ degree weather. That's being pre-chilled. That is being filled full with ice and other materials. 2 days out here with just one tray of ice and two little, Walmart 99-cent trays. I think it's doing pretty well here. I'm not too mad about that at all. As I hinted at in the beginning of the video, right now this color pattern and the pricing that I'm about to discuss here is available for Buyers Club members only at Sportsman's Guide. Now, to sign up for a Buyers Club membership, it's $39 for a 1-year membership. And they also, I believe, still have the free trial membership for 30 days if you guys want to just get in there and check it out. I've been a Sportsman's Guide member long before they ever knew who I was, long before I had a YouTube channel for that matter. So I've been a member for a long time. I used to buy a ton of bulk ammo from them. However, now I have ammo sponsors. But anyway, there's a lot of good stuff that they do have. I did ask for this cooler to be sent out because last year I got bombarded with a ton of requests to review coolers, and the pricing on these is pretty impressive. So this one right here for members is $249. And they also have a 60-quart version and a 20-quart version. We will put the prices and photos and such up on the screen. Now, again, right now, it's the 2nd, and through the 14th, these will only be available for Buyers Club members. After that, if there's any left, it will be open to non-buyers, or Buyers Club members rather, to purchase. So pros of it, definitely going to be priced for what you get. This thing here, one thing I don't think I mentioned in the video so far is that almost everywhere on it, with the exception of right there at the bottom, you have 2 inches of insulation between 2 layers of roto-cooled plastic on there, so it's very well insulated. Again, if we had done the test with the correct protocols for how you can optimize the actual ice length, I would imagine this one here in these type of conditions in the 90s every day, when it's only getting down in the 70s, I'm probably starting to sweat here profusely, but when it's only getting down in the 70s, it's up in the 90s, direct sunlight. As you guys can see, the ground temperature around here over 110 degrees. I would guess this one here is going to get about 6 to 7 days of ice from all the different testing I've seen online and done myself over the years with these types of coolers. Again, it's rated for 12 days, but conditions will vary. So price for what you get, I think, is very, very good. If you look around at other similarly priced coolers on the market, they're way more, or rather similar size coolers with similar features. They're way more, so it's a very good deal. I like the American flag paint scheme that it does have. However, again, they are available in other colors all the time, but this is kind of a July 4th launch thing. They will sell out. From everything I've seen, they sold out pretty quickly last year as well. One thing I wish it had that would be a quick improve on it is a beer bottle opener. Now, of course, you absolutely could just bang it down with your hand on the top and it would probably be just fine. I've done that many times over the years while camping or anything like that with these types of coolers, but it's suboptimal. If it had one built in, I think that would be cool. Again, the wheels thing, it kind of right on the edge there about really requiring it or not requiring it at this size, but all in all, I think it's a pretty good value. If you guys have any questions about the cooler, by all means, post them below in the comment section. I'll do my best to get those answers to you. I will be reviewing at least 1, 2, 3 more coolers this year, so there's definitely cooler reviews coming up in the queue. This is the first one though, of course, due to the time restraints, but I think you guys will like it. If you don't like it, or if there's other things you guys want me to see me do rather during cooler requests, by all means, post it down below in the comment section. I'll take a look at it. I always take constructive criticism from you guys because I make the videos for you ultimately after all. If you actually have a question that you need answered though, the best place to get me is over at my Facebook page. As always, I answer all the questions and messages that I do get in there. Also, Sportsman's Guide has a standing coupon code for viewers. It's Mr. Gun, or rather Guns and Gear, for $20 off orders of $100 or more. That includes pretty much everything on the site with the exception of ammunition. So I think I've rambled on enough, and I think I've sweat enough throughout this video. So we're going to drain this sucker out, and we'll see all of you guys in the next video.
Yeah, in the front row, kicking back old school tracks like damn. Can't get enough of this more, like I don't even know where I am. Ooh, baby, get hyped to the beat, let's go, cause this is our jam. This is our jam.